Volcanoes are natural formations that have fascinated humans since ancient times. In most myths and legends, they are associated with the anger of the gods, because they are so big and powerful that they are associated with the gods. Let's watch these unstoppable giant mountains of fire together. Volcanoes are geological structures formed when magma beneath the Earth's crust rises to the surface. Volcanic eruptions are often directly linked to tectonic plate movements. The areas where volcanoes are located are mostly subduction zones, oceanic ridges or hotspots. The molten rocks seeping through the cracks in the Earth's crust under great pressure and coming to the surface of the Earth sometimes flow slowly and sometimes erupt in large explosions. Magma is molten rock found deep underground. Magma is formed by the rise in temperature, the decrease in pressure, or the presence of volatile substances such as water. In subduction zones, when the oceanic plate plunges into the mantle, it takes water with it. This water lowers the melting point of the rocks in the mantle, leading to the formation of magma. The pressure created by the trapped water vapor and gases eventually breaks the Earth's crust and rises to the surface. The amount of trapped gas determines the size of the eruption. Earthquakes are natural phenomena caused by the sudden release of energy accumulation in the Earth's crust. The Earth's crust consists of a layer known as the lithosphere, which is divided into large tectonic plates. These plates are in constant motion thanks to magma flows in the underlying mantle layer. But this movement is not continuous and smooth. The boundaries between the plates undergo one of three main types of movement. Divergent boundaries. Plates move away from each other, usually along mid-ocean ridges. In these regions, magma rises to the surface and forms a new ocean floor. Convergent boundaries. Plates approach each other. One plate dives beneath the other. This is known as a subduction zone and often causes severe earthquakes and volcanoes. Transform boundaries. Plates move parallel to each other, leading to large stresses. The San Andreas Fault is an example. Earthquakes often occur along fault lines. Faults are fractures in the Earth's crust. When the energy in the fault lines reaches a level that cannot withstand environmental stresses, a slip occurs and this energy is released. Seismic waves carry this energy and cause the earthquake to be felt at the surface. The magnitude of an earthquake refers to the amount of energy released and is usually measured on the Richter scale. However, the effects of an earthquake depend on many factors such as its proximity to the surface, the soil structure, and the durability of structures. Landslides are a common occurrence in volcanic eruptions and earthquakes. They often happen so fast that it is almost impossible to escape. Some are lucky enough to escape at the last moment, like this driver who was saved by a tunnel that slowed the falling earth and rocks. But this building didn't escape anywhere. The huge falling rocks went through the building and rolled for 400 meters, leaving a huge debris and trail. It was lucky that the building was empty. The fear of earthquakes is a fear so great that it enters people's nightmares and affects their lives. When you think you are the safest, suddenly everything starts to shake. However difficult it may be at the time of an earthquake, going to the nearest open area and waiting there is the safest way of protection. But if you are inside a building and there is no time to go outside, it is an important way of protection to get under a table or take shelter next to an object that you know is strong and wait for the earthquake to pass. The earthquake is sometimes very strong. especially in places with soft ground, like the harbor. The crane of this harbor, which was built on the sea with fill soil, could not withstand the ground freezing and collapsed. The workers managed to escape by running to open areas. Unfortunately, people fleeing to save themselves and their loved ones during earthquakes can sometimes cause stampedes and injuries. In countries where earthquakes happen a lot, people are more conscious and careful. Drivers stopping their vehicles during an earthquake can prevent injuries to people fleeing. Some people are more cold-blooded than others and can guide society and create order. This reduces panic and people wait for the earthquake to pass in a safer way. Of course, if the building collapses, most precautions don't matter, but it is important to hide in a sheltered place to avoid injuries. I live in an area where earthquakes are very frequent, and it has happened to me many times. There are times when I live in an open area for days, waiting for the aftershocks to end, and wondering if my house will remain strong enough to live in. What is interesting to me is that people who normally don't help each other support each other in such times and try to create order and help each other. I think the effort to create an order in chaos is in the genes of people. Could it be that our subconscious works with the logic that if there is no chaos, there is no need for help? Earthquakes shake not only the Earth's crust, but also people's souls. In offices, homes, or outdoors, this sudden natural phenomenon can turn our lives upside down in an instant. That's why the momentary effects of earthquakes, combined with the reactions of people, speak volumes. You see, these security cameras show us what happens during an earthquake. People are hiding in fear under tables, leaning against walls, or trying to find the nearest exit. But these images reveal not only panic, but also our instincts, because humans are driven by the instinct to survive in times of danger. If you are caught in an earthquake in such enclosed spaces, especially in large buildings such as offices, it is very important to stay away from the windows and find a place to protect your head. Basic reflexes, such as hiding under desks and covering your head with your hands, can increase your chances of survival. But this is only a short-term solution. In larger earthquakes, the structural strength of the building trumps everything else. This is why we need to be conscious both individually and socially. Potholes are usually formed when rocks that are easily soluble in water, such as limestone, dissolve over time. This natural process is often triggered by changes in surface gravity or groundwater levels. Human influence on the formation of sinkholes cannot be underestimated. For example, intensive agriculture or uncontrolled use of groundwater can accelerate such ground collapses. Ground movements such as earthquakes can trigger disasters in these already vulnerable regions. This is why ground surveys during construction can be life-saving. The impact of earthquakes is not limited to buildings. The ground structure is also a big factor. On the screen now, you can see how a museum was damaged by the collapse of the ground. The Corvette Museum was hit hard in 2014 when a sinkhole suddenly appeared. The ground suddenly collapsed and very valuable vehicles sank to the ground. It was a reminder of how dynamic and unpredictable the Earth's crust is. Imagine a tremendous pressure and energy building up deep in the Earth. This energy, which has been waiting silently for millions of years, suddenly finds a way and explodes. This is where the story of volcanoes begins. These eruptions are one of the most spectacular displays of the nature of our world. They are so powerful that sometimes they blow off the top of a mountain. Sometimes they set entire oceans in motion. Now imagine this. Magma, the molten rock beneath the ground, moves upwards with great force. When it reaches the surface, it is called lava. This lava contains incredible energy, even as it flows slowly. As you can see in the images you're watching, this kind of phenomenon has a destructive power. But at the same time, isn't it fascinating to watch the warmth and the dignified movement of that flow? Then there are the side effects of these eruptions. Think of the tsunamis caused by lava reaching the sea during the eruption, or by underground movements. These wave after wave of water masses are powerful enough to completely change the coastline. The waves reach not just one coast, but sometimes even another coast hundreds of kilometers away. Let's stop and think for a moment. As frightening as these events may seem, they are part of nature's regeneration process. When the lava cools and solidifies, it turns into fertile soil. The surrounding vegetation regenerates and life begins anew. You may have heard how fertile the soil around a volcano is. This is a gift of the eruption. Volcanoes are also a natural phenomenon that reminds us how small we are. That enormous energy, that majestic power, is much bigger than all our structures and technologies in human history. These eruptions show us the power of nature and the need to understand our place in it. But there is also a fascinating side. The landscapes shaped by the lava, stones, and ash from volcanoes take your breath away. Imagine the majestic shapes these lava forms as it slowly cools. Some of them look like works of art. Volcanoes are not limited to lava. Imagine dense clouds of ash rising into the sky at the moment of an eruption. These clouds affect not only the environment, but sometimes even the atmosphere, an effect powerful enough to change the Earth's weather. What about pyroclastic flows, which flow rapidly and sweep everything away? It's like a river, but a boiling river that destroys everything in its path. Sinkholes and caves are also the result of such natural processes. Movement beneath the ground sometimes creates such cavities on the surface. Such formations help us understand how much energy was once moving through the Earth. So these landscapes you are watching right now are actually pages in the history of the Earth. Volcanoes are not only a story of catastrophe, but also a story of rebirth, a story of motion. Understanding this movement under the ground means understanding the past and the future of our world. Maybe that's why we all need to treat these natural phenomena with a little more respect. Because no matter what, without them the world would not exist in its current form. The ash clouds that rise into the sky during volcanic eruptions are not just a natural phenomenon. They are part of the Earth's effort to reshape itself. These huge ash clouds can reach the upper layers of the atmosphere and be carried kilometers away by the winds. Inside the ash clouds is a mixture of minerals, elements, and gases from underground. This mixture is like nature's subtle process of reshaping life on the surface. But ash clouds are remarkable not only for their beauty, but also for their impact. By blocking the sun's rays, these particles can temporarily lower temperatures around the world. As you may have noticed while watching, ash clouds don't just rise upwards. They return to the Earth's surface and cover large areas like a blanket. After a while, this layer of ash settles on top of the soil, both covering it and making it fertile over time. But what is most impressive is the sense of silence these ash clouds bring. Aside from the chaos of the eruption, time seems to stand still as the ash slowly spreads around. Nature works like an artist, reshaping the landscape. The slow movement of the ash clouds in the images you are watching is perhaps like one of those moments when the Earth breathes. Now let's go back to the story of the lava. Lava flows. Those hot, dense, and shimmering rivers that glide slowly down from the summit of a mountain. At first glance, it looks destructive, but at the same time, it's incredibly calm. As you watch, you will realize that as the lava flows, it gives new shapes to nature like a painter. These slow currents, no matter how hot and powerful they are, move in a certain order. Nothing lives where the lava passes. But this is only temporary. As it cools, the lava releases a wealth of minerals into the environment. This is why volcanic soils are so fertile. As the lava cools and solidifies, nature comes to life again. Plants, trees, and even new ecosystems appear where once there was nothing. This cycle of change after a volcanic eruption shows how patient the Earth is, but also how powerful its mechanisms are. These calm lava flows you are watching are part of the great cycle of nature. Every destruction sets the stage for a rebirth. The shapes formed by lava are sometimes preserved for millions of years. Imagine, some of the mountains, valleys, and islands we see today were once the work of lava rivers. In fact, when the lava flows of the past cool and harden, caves, tube passages, and interesting rock formations appear over time. These structures are like works of art patiently created by nature. Ash clouds and lava flows remind us of something. Nature always finds its own balance. As humans, we are only a part of this balance. Understanding how destructive or impressive these events are increases our respect for nature, because it is thanks to these cycles that the Earth has existed for billions of years. As you watch these landscapes of lava and ash clouds, remember that the Earth is in constant motion. Every eruption, every flow is a sign that the Earth is renewing itself. These landscapes are a reflection of both the destructive and creative power of nature. Thanks for watching. See you in the next video.